Hi guys! What are we going to do today? We're going to learn some new stitches and a fun way to make some pockets that you could put on a book or on anything. Let's get started.
So this is the template I'm going to do. I'm just making this wispy type drawing. You could even draw your own out. And you could just use a pencil if you're going to freehand it and just draw it on to your muslin. I'm using a double layer. For this one, I'm just going to use some copy paper, graphite paper. Draw this. I'm going to draw it at an angle so this goes to a corner. So I'm just going to trace these lines on here. See how we did. I'm going to be using just regular thread. You could use any type of embroidery thread that you would like, and I'm using 2 strands on this. Once again, you can go a lot thicker than that if you'd like. I'm actually going to start from the top because I'm going to want long strings hanging off the end. So I'm going through this dot, up through this spot here, where you see this line, and there should be a break in between these. I'm going to do that large strip right here, just this right here, and then I'm going to come out right through here and then start. Coming down, and then I am coming up through there. Leave a long tail hanging. If you guys have done needlework, you probably know the daisy stitch, the daisy chain stitch. That's what I'm going to do for these long stems. So what you do is your needle comes out, your thread is out, you're going to go right next to it. Come up a ways, and this thread that's hanging off, I'm just going to wrap around the edge. Go right in next to where you came up, go up a little ways. I'm wrapping this around, and I'm going to pull this. You do not want to pull too tight because there's not a knot at the end yet. So I just hold that down for the first one, then I go like that. Once again, my thread is up here. I am going to go right next to it again, go further up, and you can see my thread is through there. Just right to the right or to the left. You don't want to go through the same hole or your thread will just come out. You want it to be very close. And you go back through, you bring this up a ways, and you have your thread looped, and it makes this little chain stitch. And you can do these as close or as far apart as you would like. I am just going to continue this till I get to the end of the branches. So I've gotten to the end of that part, and what I'm going to do up here is I am just going to do just a long straight stitch. So I'm going to go through one of these little branches here and just do a straight stitch there, one right here, I'll just knot this off in the back and we'll start the next row. I am just going to get some more thread here. Depending on how much you had on your needle, you could probably continue on. So once again, I'm going to start at this hole right here where the little dot is, go right there, come right up here again, hold this one down so I don't pull it. Once again, just leave my tail hanging, put my thumb there so I don't pull that. I'm going to start my daisy chain stitch again. Make sure it's wrapped around and going up the next set. Do these 4 wispy lines again. Knot them all off in the back and do all these rows the same. So I've done all these stitches, and so you see you have this whole long tail. So what I'm going to do is make a knot, and I want to make it really close to there. Now I'm going to rip this. I want kind of a smaller square. So I'm going to start with top piece of fabric. 2 pieces of fabric here, and I'm ripping that. Any fabric fabric that has a grain you can rip. Just want to make sure when you've started if you had ripped, so you're at a straight grain, otherwise it'll be ripping that way. This bottom one I'm ripping a little bit bigger. I want this to be the corner. I'm just going to do a really quick running stitch to hold these two pieces of fabric together. I just want one strand of thread for this. So all I'm going to do is just a really quick running stitch along the edge. Single strand, I just did a quick running stitch around this edge, this top edge, to hold it to this bottom edge. Use some coffee. I just happen to have this Rit dye, tan Rit dye here. So I'm just going to go over this real quick. So this is a craft iron, so I'm not worried about using this, but you might want to put a piece of parchment paper or something over it if you are going to iron this. I kind of like the way this looks because after you've dyed it and you use an iron right on it, wherever your little creases are where you've done stitching, they get a little darker. It's kind of neat the look you get. So I wanted something coordinating behind this. So I just ripped this piece of brown fabric and I have it big enough that I can put this at an angle and it's still completely covered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some strips of steam and iron on the back side, on these three sides, and on the back side of this, on these three sides, so we end up with two pockets that we can put on our book. So I am just going to iron these on here. And steam seam's just a fusible web. So you could use a heat and bond, Wonder Under. You could probably even just use a fabric glue on these three edges. This just holds very, very nicely and nice and tight that I don't have to worry about it. And then we'll just pull the papers off of these. I'm going to do the same with this piece on three sides. Then we're going to iron these onto the front of our book. So I just took a large piece of my aged Monahan paper that I had and I just decoupaged this onto a front of a book. I'm just going to iron right on here. So I'm going to put some parchment paper over the top because I do know that the ink on this Monahan paper does not like the iron. So I'm just going to iron the steam machine so these bond really, really well. Let this cool. You could add little cards or a bookmark or some other fun things to your pockets. How cute is that?
So I hope you thought this was interesting. Maybe you learned something new if you didn't know how to do a daisy chain stitch.
This is very simple, but I drew out a little template you can download.
A little design that we use. So that is down below the description. But you could make this pocket and put it on anything, even if it was an apron, another type of a book, a pillow, tea towel, anything you can think of. Hope you give us a try, but whatever you do, have fun.